My name is Claudette Sykes. I taught art and drama at Noonan High School. Art only beginning in 1970, but somewhere along the way I picked up drama too, and I don't remember what year. And I retired in 1992.
Tell me how you got to Noonan High School.
I got to Noonan High School because my husband was offered a principalship in Coweta County. At that time we lived on the other side of Birmingham, Alabama, and Rex Hooten, who was principal at Atkinson School, his daughter went to church with us, and we met him socially, and he recommended my husband. They used to get in the corner and talk stuff, get education stuff. So he recommended my husband for a principalship, and we came as a deal. You know, it took two of us, and so that's how we both got over here.
And so what was your first job in the county and then at Noonan High School?
My first job was as Title I art coordinator, and I had an office and an art supply room in the county office, which was at that time down on South Beatty. And I was in the basement and had to order supplies for the whole county and get them to the teachers, and was just trying to get art established in the county in every school.
And then you came to Noonan High School, and where did you teach, and what was your responsibilities at that point?
When I came to Noonan, I just taught art for all 4 grades. It was an elective, of course, and I was in the what is now the band building. I had the back room at first, and then in the small room on the side by the driveway on the side of toward the gym, the old gym. I had my homeroom, and then I would do drawing in there sometimes too, because it had work desks, because when it wasn't my homeroom, it was a drafting class. And then Richard Brooks was over in the other side of the building with woodworking.
How did you end up doing the senior play for so many years?
The first senior play I did was in '75, and the people who had been doing the drama were no longer at the school, and some of the students found out I had a degree in drama and begged, just plain old begged, please do a play. And Mr. Cunningham was principal at that time, and he was, of course, all for it too, very supportive, and so I started.
And how did it get to be a musical?
The first year we did MASH, and it was not a musical, but I had so many students who wanted to be in it. And then when we had the first meeting the next year, it was 1976, and we had 76 seniors who wanted to be in the play. And so I went to see Mr. Cunningham and asked him what he thought about doing a musical, because with choruses and dance lines and all that, you can accommodate a vast number of students. And we both wanted all of them to get to be in it. We didn't want to cut it down to a small cast. And, you know, it's a big experience to be in your senior play, and we wanted everybody who wanted to. And at that time, we did not have a lot of spring sports, Steve. You know, now we do, but then we didn't. And so the kids had that spring free, most of them, and I think baseball was about the only thing we had to contend with. And it just grew, but the musical was very popular.
What was your first musical, and who starred in it?
Sing Out Sweet Land was the first one. It was a Walter Carr. It was the history of American music, going all the way back to Pilgrim days, and Alan Jackson had the lead. And I've told the story many times about how Alan would just walk down and step up on the stage. You know how the stage is. Alan could just step up on that stage with his old long legs. And in it, he wanted to sing, Thank God I'm a Country Boy. Well, I'd never heard that song. And he drug me up to the library, to the sound room, and played John Denver's tape. And he wanted to sing that instead of one of the other songs that was in the play. And that play gave you the leave to change some of the songs if you needed to. And so I wrote John Denver. Wish I had the letter still. I don't know where that letter ended up, but asked him, since we weren't making money or anything. We were just trying to break even. And Alan brought down the house. He had to do it twice. Back then we just did one performance, you know. We did. And I just didn't know how much he meant it. He meant that country boy thing.
That's good. How important do you think Noonan High School is to the community and vice versa?
It was probably more important then than now because it was the only high school. Well, I shouldn't say that. That East Coweta has grown, but East Coweta was a long way up the highway toward Griffin, you know. It seemed to me as a newcomer to Noonan, but it was just such a part of it. Everybody who lived in town had been there to high school themselves, and so it was a part of their history. And anywhere I would go, of course, I would run into parents and students and all of that. Of course, now we have Northgate, and we have 3 high schools, and they share the attention and the newspaper articles, and they all have their senior plays and their teams, and I hope it's equal. It seems equal to me. But back then, you know, Noonan was smaller. This was nearly 50 years ago, you know, and just everybody I knew and met either had children, grandchildren themselves. They just had a connection to Noonan High School, and so something like that, you can't even describe the importance it is to a community.
And one of the schools, one of the original Noonan High Schools, right down the street from where you live.
That's right.
And you were telling me about the time it got torn down and what went on around that.
Well, the neighbors were just all real upset. First of all, it was a good-looking building, and it was a very schooly-looking building. It was 2 or 3 stories high, and it was about the third of the park area that was toward Jackson Street, and it was also a part of their lives. The older people, that's where they went to high school, because Noonan High School, I believe, first year was 52. And but when you said Noonan High School back then, you were talking about 2 schools as one, because of that old one that the older people had all been to, and but it segued into the new one, and that seemed to be going fine. And the first thing we knew, they were out there tearing the building down, and it sort of wasn't announced. It was just happening, and people didn't like that. And then they almost couldn't tear it down, Steve. It was just, they had the big wrecking ball. That thing would bounce off those brick walls and go, and then bounce again, and they just swung at it and hit it, and I don't even know how they finally got that building down. It was so well built, and everybody was going around saying, they'll never build anything as strong as that again. They should not tear down our... People were upset in this neighborhood. Everybody I knew just did not want that building to come down.